I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry.
You got a pen, Larry?
Pen?
Yeah, a pen, you know. Because you're going to do what you do best. You're going to sign this voucher so I can hire a contractor.
I don't know if I can do that without...
I'm going to hire Quint to kill the shark. What?
August.
What are you talking about? Larry, the summer is over. You're the mayor of Shark City. These people think you want the beaches open.
I was acting in the town's best interest.
That's right. You were acting in the town's best interest, and that's why you're going to do the right thing. That's why you're going to sign this, and we're going to pay that guy what he wants.
Martin. My kids were on that beach too.
Sign it, Larry.
JAWGUST is back once again. Jaws is 50, so I thought, my friends, for you to come with me as I go back to Amity. A 31-day podcast, talking 4 minutes of Jaws each day. It will be another month-long show for me, and I hope to see you there, 'cause JAWGUST is back again.
Happy Sunday, everybody. It's Sunday, August 17th, which means it's the 17th day of JAWGUST, which means it's the 17th day of Golden JAWGUST, which means for the 17th day in a row, I am here talking to all of you about 4 minutes of Jaws. And I have to be honest, it feels like I haven't talked to you guys in a while. And that's because technically yesterday I didn't record an episode. I did it the day before. In fact, on Friday, I actually recorded 3 podcasts. I did 2 JAWGUSTs, and then I did another show that I do with Chris, Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. So early in the morning on Friday, I did my normal JAWGUST for the 15th. Then that evening, Chris and I sat down to record our JAWGUST episode for the 16th, which we actually put a video of that recording, not just audio, but an actual video of that is on the YouTube channel at Fans Not Experts. So it's not the greatest quality because we recorded it over Zoom. And it's like we have green screens in front of, or not green screens, but we have virtual backgrounds. And I'm on a webcam, and he is on on his phone. And they were both low quality. We did the best we could, but it's primarily the episode. It's exactly the episode of the audio that you may have heard for yesterday, just in video form. The only person we didn't get was the special guest star of Dave, who jumped in. It was not planned at all. In fact, I did not know it was going to happen while we recorded it, which is why you kind of notice it just jumps back to Chris and I talking at the end. If you listened to yesterday's episode a little early, you might have heard that the sound was a little off and some of the clips were too loud, and that's just, I didn't realize that while I originally posted it. It wasn't until I was making the YouTube video of it that I realized, and I had to go back and fix that. So if you haven't listened to it, if you didn't listen to it early yesterday, if you're just listening to it like after the 16th, then you're totally fine. You heard the actual finished product, the corrected audio. And if you're listening to this right now, it doesn't matter because that was yesterday. And we move on. We move forward. And I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that we're over the halfway point. There's now only 14 JAWGUST episodes left after today. Early on, when I start, like the month comes up, I'm like, oh God, what am I actually going to talk about? Like, I don't plan it all that much. I knew that I wanted to do 4 minutes. I wanted to look at that 4 minutes and I wanted to talk about that 4 minutes. But the format or how actually I do it is just kind of wing it. And I remember talking to Eric early on. He's like, how long do you try to shoot for episodes? I say usually about, if I can get over 20 minutes, I feel like that's at least a good enough episode. And that's including like the clips at the beginning, all the songs at the beginning. If I can hit 20 minutes, then I feel like, okay, I've at least done enough for it to qualify and quantify, but definitely qualify for an episode in my book. And yet I don't think any episode's been just 20 minutes. I feel like even the shortest one was 25 minutes. So I believe as of yesterday, we reached close to 9.5 hours of Golden JAWGUST. And as I said, that if you take that half of that episode away, because that's the halfway point, right in the middle of that, about 9 hours and 15 minutes. So we will, who knows, we might reach, 18 hours of podcasting for a month. And if my calculations are correct, the final episode of JAWGUST on August 31st will be the 700th episode of Geek Mentality. I probably said that before, but it bears repeating. And that includes, though, every little thing I've done. Like, I'm going like old versions of Geek Mentality where I just hit record on my phone and talk for a few minutes. That counts. All of it counts. If you can download it, it counts. So August 31st, I believe, if my math skills are correct, that will be episode 700 of Geek Mentality. And I think my 66th episode of JAWGUST, because 31 episodes, the original, well, this year will be 31 episodes. The original JAWGUST was actually 32 episodes because I did a Jaws Timber. I did one little bonus episode. So that, and then you add Jaws 2, Jaws 3. I promised I wouldn't talk about the sequels, but here we are. So we add those 3 episodes. So you get, okay, wait a minute. 32 plus 3 would be 33, 34, 35 plus 1, 36, and then 30. That's how I did. Instead of adding 31, I added 1, then 30. Just easier for me. So that gets me to 66. That will be episode 66. That's hey, if you like Star Wars, I actually have a podcast called The Mandalorian Man. Go over there. It's kind of like this, where I just ramble, but I'm talking about all the Disney Plus shows on Star Wars. That's if you're super nerdy. And I mean, I qualify. I haven't even talked about Jaws yet. Look, see, this is how it works. I've gone almost 9.5 minutes, and I've yet to talk about these 4 minutes of Jaws. Today, it was a spectacular 4 minutes. But again, I'm coming to you pretty late. It's 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday. I really, really should go to bed. I want to get a little extra sleep. But during the day today, I grilled. I did a big grilling of meat and some vegetables, but screw that. For my parents and my dad, for my dad's birthday, my parents' anniversary. We had my mother-in-law over. But then earlier in the day, deja vu, my wife and I went to the dog bar. I think I talked about it last week. We went to a goddamn pet luau. Today we went to, it was a beagle rescue get together. We didn't get our beagle through this rescue, but we support them and we go to a lot of their events because they have events. And it's always a wonderful chance for us to see dogs we love and for my dog to run around and play and be crazy and be the center of attention. And in doing so, she's as tired as shit right now, which is perfect. It allows me to talk more Jaws with you. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into these 4 minutes. So where we last left off, they had just taken Michael out of the pond. Ellen's like, he's dead. He's not. And we see them standing together in a building that we learn is the, I assume it's called the Amity General Hospital or Amity Hospital, whatever it is. It is the hospital. And you can see Martin there holding Sean and Ellen just staring straight ahead. They're not together. They're on opposite sides of this door. They're in shock. They're kind of just like in a daze. And they are just, you could see they're very tense and they're just not together. They're definitely, you could just cut the tension with a shark's tooth. So a door in the hospital opens and out comes a nurse who I can just tell has been practicing this line 10, 20, 30 times in the mirror all day. I feel like this is her big moment. This is her big break. And she nails it.
Doctor said he's okay. Mild shock. He can go home in the morning. Thank you.
So when I look at that clip and I study that moment where that nurse comes out, says that line, and that's her big moment in Jaws, my first thought is, oh, this is a local girl. She's not an actress. This is her first time in anything. And my friends, I couldn't be more wrong. This is a woman named Anne Ryman or Ruman. She has been acting since 1972 in something called Private Parts. It looks kind of like a seedy 70s movie where the poster says Cheryl is a lovely girl, but to George she's a living doll. And it seems like she has a neighbor in a hotel who is a creep. Okay, she's the star of that movie. The star of that movie in 1972. She then goes on to be in an episode of Bonanza. She's in the TV movie Go Ask Alice. She is in The Streets of San Francisco, an episode of that. What else is she in that I recognize? I mean, maybe Beretta, Cannon. Then she stars as the nurse in Jaws, uncredited. You think this is her big break? This is her moment? Well, she didn't even get credited, but then she goes on to be in Police Story, an episode of that. What else? Anything else I recognize? Hawaii Five-0, 12 episodes of The McLean Stevenson Show. She played Janet Ferguson. Quincy. So this is an actual actress. Then Quincy in 1978. Then she's in something a couple of years later. 9 years pass. She's in a show called Midnight Caller, and then something in Firestorm 72, and then she hasn't acted since. I'm not sure why, but it says her last name is pronounced Ryman. She has her relatives. None of her relatives have links. I don't know why we're seeing this. Anne Ryman was born in 1947. Oh my God, she's older than my parents. I see this young nurse, and I don't feel like this movie should be that long ago, but it is 50 years ago. And this woman was born a year before my friggin' parents are born. I only see this young lady. So I don't know, she's well into her 70s now. It's very strange when you see people who are I think about this when I see other people in this movie. I'm like, that little kid, that tiny little baby, even little Sean, he's in his 50s now. It is crazy when you think about it. But what's even crazier is this dude who's pushing the gurney with Michael on it. I'd like to think he is a criminally young doctor, and that Amity just doesn't have the resources because they're more worried about summer dollars, so they just hire anyone to be a doctor. But I'm pretty sure he does have a stethoscope, though. So there's no way this guy's a doctor, is it? I mean, I guess he could be in his 20s. He's very young. He's got the same, little bob that Cassidy had. It was very in the 70s. And this mofo can't stop looking in the goddamn camera. If you were just to watch these 4 minutes, it starts with the nurse opening the door. This guy walks out with Michael, and he's pushing him. Now you have to push him. The camera crew's right there. Before they even get through the door, he looks in the camera. He looks down, he looks in the camera again. Now they're looking head on. He looks down, boom, right in the camera again. Now the camera is looking straight forward, and he is just staring right into my soul. I could move around the room, doesn't matter. He's still looking at me. It won't go away. And he gives like one more little look before finally the camera goes to the side. No, I'm wrong. He gives one more look right into the camera like, hi, I'm in a movie. This guy, there's no way he's a doctor. In fact, who is this guy? Let's look up this bozo. Well, I found nothing. Someone on Reddit thought, is that the same actor who played Cassidy? And someone wrote, no, everyone has the same haircut in the 70s. There's nothing, I can't find anything on who this guy is. And then I look on Daily Jaws, and it just says, it's not the same guy who plays Cassidy. But they don't say who he is. There's no name to it. There's no name to him, but they mention him looking in the camera too. So I'm glad that it's not like, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who caught it. I'm not the first one to catch it, but I'm glad other people actually talk about it as well. Another thing that I noticed people talk about, and I was going to make a joke about this, but apparently I'm not the first person to do that too. So right when Michael comes out and the nurse says what she says, and Ellen says, thank you. She starts talking to Michael, and she asks him if she tries to make him feel better. Like, hey, you get to watch TV here.
You can watch television. Want me to bring anything from home?
My cars.
Your cars. What about ice cream?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Dr. Markowitz.
So a couple things there. Number one, when he says my cars, that just makes you realize how young he is. The kid, the actor who played him, was only 11, and he's yelling with his friends on the boat, but he's just a little kid and he just wants his toys. And but then he sounds like an old man, because to me, what he's actually saying, do you want some, what about ice cream? Coffee. It's like, I want coffee, ice cream. But the joking part of me, she's like, do you want any ice cream? He's like, no, get me a coffee. Give me a black coffee, no sugar, and get it to me now, hot. I want it piping hot. But that kid is 11 years old, and I looked up the actor, and it's gonna get a little sad right here. So the actor's name is Chris Rebello. Now, Chris Rebello, he was only in one movie ever, Michael Brody in Jaws, and he has, for whatever scenes he's in, that shot of him looking dead on with the shark in the pond coming at him from the shark's point of view is iconic. He was born in 1963, so in 74 when they were filming this, he was only 11 years old. Unfortunately, when I looked him up on IMDb, I forgot about this. I'm sure I talked about this, and I'm fairly positive I talked about this back in 2020 with the original JAWGUST, but Chris Rebello passed away at the age of 37 all the way back in 2000. He was a young man when he passed away. And hold on to your hats, because it gets a little sadder. So I looked up Chris Rebello just to see if there was something. I don't know if it's morbid or curiosity. I was like, how does a man die at 37? Was there some sort of tragic accident, something? And so I typed in Chris Rebello, and I saw an obituary from the Vineyard Gazette for a Christopher Rebello, but the name was Joel Christopher Rebello. And I thought, oh, maybe that was his full name. And then I saw, no, this was from 2023. And this is a man who passed away at the age of 33, unexpectedly, of heart disease. And this actually is the son of Chris Rebello, who passed away at 37 from a heart attack. So obviously heart disease ran in his family. He tragically died at a young age, and now his son, 23 years later, died at a tragically. So this guy lost his father at 10 years old, and then he passes away at the age of 33. Lived Martha's Vineyard. Just they are Martha's Vineyard residents. This guy was a Martha's Vineyard resident. His dad obviously was a lifelong Islander, and I just I didn't want to go there, but when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I can't ignore that I saw this, and that I saw that not only he passed away, but his son passed away just 2 years ago at the young age of 33. I remember when I was a kid and 30s seemed old, and now the 50s seems young. I mean, not for me. I'm not there yet, but you know, a lot of my friends are in their 50s. My parents were in their 50s. They're in their 70s now. My wife is in her 50s, but not me. Nope, not me. I'm still holding on to the 40s for a good 12 more months. So I'm enjoying it while I can. But that being said, 33 is ridiculously young, and this is just a tragic bit of sad news that I was not expecting to even focus on at all today. But that's the happenstance of sometimes, you know, when you're looking at things and you see something, you're like, well, I'm not going to not mention it. So that's just a sad little thing. And actually, that moment, back to the actual movie, where Michael gets brought away on the gurney, that's it. That is the last time we see Michael Brody. That Michael Brody, I should say. That's the last time we see that Michael Brody in Amity. Or at least in this movie, that's the last time we see Michael Brody. That's all I'm going to say. We're not talking about the sequels. It's the last time we see Michael Brody. And then in the background, what I love, and I forgot to mention, this so far is, this is only 15 seconds in, but we get the half of the scene is all done in one shot. So the door opens, the orderly looks in the camera 4 or 5 times, the nurse they walk out together, Ellen's talking to Michael, off you go, Michael goes, and when she turns around, Martin's there with her, with Sean. He says to her, do you want to take Martin home? Now, I while this is happening, in the background, he sees Larry Vaughn walk in. He looks all disheveled. Mayor Vaughn, disheveled. And Brody should be like, here, hold Sean for a second. I'm going to go punch this guy in the face. But he sees him. He's like, okay, now's my chance. I'm not going to waste any more time. He hands Sean to Ellen and says, you want to take him home? Now, I always took this as Ellen saying, she goes, to New York? He goes, no, home here, home. And she gives a little nod. I always used to take this as her saying, I want to leave. I want to get out of here. I no longer want to be in Amity. Should we go to New York? But now I'm taking this a little differently. I feel like, look, if she wanted to leave Amity, she had ample chances to leave Amity after this. She never does. Okay? I promised myself I would not talk about the sequels, so I'm just going to focus on this movie and this movie alone. She wants to be an Islander. She said, I want to be when am I going to be an Islander? Never, Ellen, never. You're not born here, you're not an Islander. So I think what she's actually saying here, I think maybe she's checking with the chief, like, do you want to go back to New York? And he goes, no, here. Because then she gives this little nod. Now, it's either the nod of, okay, I agree with you, okay, or it's, okay, good, you agree with me. This is still our home. I always took it as, okay, I guess we'll stay here. But I'm kind of taking it like that one little smile. She's like, good. I'm glad you still think of this as our home. And then she leaves, and Sean, he's asleep. That is the last time we see Sean. It's not the last time we see Ellen, but the next time we see her, at least she remembers to put on pants, because I just noticed that she is just still wearing her bathing suit. She didn't put on any, and it's the 70s, so maybe you could say she's wearing short shorts, but she put a sweater on over her bathing suit, And that's it. So the next time we see her is the last time we see her, but she is fully clothed at that point. So Brody hands Sean to her, like I said. She walks off without any pants on, and we're still in the same shot, still in one shot. I mean, it's only 46 seconds. It's not like this one long oneer, but I just love, there's no need to edit. There's no need to have different angles. We're getting everything we need. Brody turns, and he sees Larry Vaughn standing there. So Vaughn hit his spot perfectly, hit his mark, and he walks over, and that's when we get the first cut. Now, before we get there, one thing I forgot to mention is in the clip where Ellen says, "Do you want ice cream?" and he says, "Coffee." In the background, you hear just hospital sound effects, and you hear Dr. Markowitz. So I said to myself, you know what, Michael, could there possibly be a Dr. Markowitz who works on Martha's Vineyard? Now, I found a Dr. Markowitz who works in Oaks Bluff at the Martha's Vineyard Hospital. Now, I don't know how old this doctor is. When I looked up a picture of her, it's through Mass Brigham Women. There's a doctor named Deborah Hope Markowitz. But when I look her up and I look up for photos, she does not appear to be old enough to be a doctor 50 years ago. But what if she's from a family of doctors? What if she, oh wait, is that the same doctor? No, it is. What if she is from like her father was also a doctor, and he was a doctor on Martha's Vineyard as well. So he is, he's working at the hospital, and they're just like, just do your normal thing. Just go about your normal day. And that's just normal, actual doctors. That's what I like to think. I like to think that Dr. Deborah Hope Markowitz's dad was also a doctor in Oak Bluffs and back in the 70s. And that is an actual call of him. I got no reason to tell me otherwise. I didn't, or at least I haven't looked for any reason. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe Markowitz is actually, there's a reason it's mentioned. I typed in Dr. Markowitz, Jaws, couldn't find anything. So that is I'm retconning it, that this real life doctor's dad was also a doctor. And to me, that makes perfect sense. So he grabs Larry, and that's where we get the clip at the beginning of this episode. The great, you hear Larry still under his breath, like, I'm very sorry. I don't think he's apologizing to Martin. I think he's working on his speech. I think he's like, okay, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say to the press? How do I spin this? How do I save this? How do I save myself? How do I save August? How do I save the summer dollars? He's still thinking about saving the businesses, not the people. He's still about lining his goddamn beautiful pockets in that beautiful jacket. And he's like, August. He goes, what are you talking about, Larry? You're the mayor of Shark City. That is the great. He goes, people think, you want the beaches open. And he goes, you're going to sign this so I can hire a contractor. He's like, I don't know if I could do that. He goes, I'm going to hire Quint to kill the shark. He's like, sign it, Larry. And that's when you get the first little, well, I was going to say it's a human moment where he goes, Martin, my kids were on that beach too. I care about people's well-being. Let me light a cigarette up in hospital here. Now, I know it's the 70s, so smoking was not only allowed in hospitals, it was probably encouraged. But again, it was pretty normal back then. It's just funny to see, and it definitely sets a time period for when you see people like smoking on an airplane or smoking in a restaurant even nowadays, or smoking in a hospital. You're like, wow, people did that then? Yes, they did. So he's lighting up, and he's like, my kids were on that beach too. He goes, good, yeah, right. He goes, sign it. But even then, Larry's like, oh, wait a minute. It could have affected me. Maybe I should worry about the shark and not just the summer dollars. Oh, my kids could have been eaten too. I mean, they weren't, thank goodness. I wouldn't let them go in the water, but they could have been. So we're almost nearing what I like to call the end of Act 1. This is like we're just about at the moment where the movie turns. It turns from a city in peril to a sea adventure. And that all kind of happens in this scene where we get where Martin gets the contract signed, and the next thing we see is Hooper and Martin together in Quint's shack, in Quint's work, and they're finally hiring Quint to do the job, and he can basically, he like has them over coals. Is that what the saying is? He has them holding them over coals. You know what I mean? He can basically demand anything he wants at this point.
$10,000, $200 a day, whether I catch him or not.
You got it.
Get the mirror off my back so I don't have any more of this zoning crap.
You got that.
1 case of apricot brandy. You buy the lunch.
2 cases. You get dinner when you get back.
Champagne, patty de foie, Iranian caviar, and don't forget the color TV.
I mean, he wants $10,000, yep, and $200 a day, whether I do it or not. So the contract is to kill the shark, but if he doesn't kill the shark, it's $200 a day. So it's not. He said $3,000. I'll find it, but not anymore. He's changed the terms of the contract. The contract is $10,000 to catch and kill the shark, or $200 a day. No, $200 a day whether I kill him or not. So that's Is that on top of the $10,000? So does he get like $2,400? Was it 2 days out there? Or was it just 1 day? Maybe it was just 1 day, 2 days, 1 night. I don't know. Whatever it is. Well, he spends the rest of his life out there. So is it cumulative? Does he keep accruing $200? I don't think so. So, but I love that he's like, I want 1 case of apricot brandy, and you buy the lunch. And Chief is negotiating. He's like, I'll get you 2 cases and I'll buy you dinner when you get back. And he talks about, I want, champagne, caviar, and don't forget the color TV. And again, I talk about smoking, in public places or inside businesses as being like a time capsule. Also, so is the mention of color TV. Back when in the 70s, when you still had a lot of black and white TVs. I remember we had a black and white TV. We were a family that loved having television. So we had a TV in the living room. My parents had this tiny little TV in their bedroom. Like when I say a tiny TV, I mean it had a handle. It was like a TV you could take and plug in anywhere, or it ran on like D batteries. And the TV was humongous. It was like a foot long, but the screen was only like 8 inches. I don't know if you remember these things. It's almost like a boombox, like the size of it, but it had a TV with an antenna right on it. We had one of those. I remember like watching The Simpsons on those in their bedroom when like they'd be downstairs. I didn't have a TV in my room yet, I don't think. But anyway, we had a black and white TV in our kitchen. Yes, we even had TV in the kitchen. They still have a TV in their kitchen. And so we'd watch, old shows. We'd watch Hollywood Squares during dinner. But early on, it was a black and white TV with the UHF and the VHF and the thunk, 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 and the all the. That's how you change the channel. People, you know what I'm talking about. But you'd say, oh, that we have a color TV in here. Well, again, nobody calls it a color TV anymore. They call it a TV. No one. I don't even think people say an HD TV anymore. They just say a television. So to me, it's just him. He doesn't even really want this stuff. I think he's just like basically exerting his power. Is that the right word? Exerting his power. He's showing that I'm in charge. I'm not going to take any shit from either of you. He'll be fair, but he'll be tough. And it's all like a test. Like even the next scene or the next moment, he's like, Chief, come here. I want you to taste this. I made it myself. It's pretty good. And it's this clear liquid. You see it's moonshine. And he's just staring directly at the chief. And of course, he makes a classic toast.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
So he swigs it down. Here's to swimming with bow-legged women. I mean, it doesn't get classier than that. He swigs down the moonshine. Brody takes the tiniest little sip, and he's like, yikes. Quint says, excuse me, Chief, and he walks over. Now, I think there was a deleted scene where he argues with the guy he works with. because later he's like, you can't get any good help around here nowadays, and it makes a little more sense. Here it just sounds like a guy complaining, which actually works too. But Brody right away spits that like into a pot. He just does not want to drink that. We then see Quint fishing out some Jaws bones, some shark bones that he's boiling. I guess boiling off all the grossness, the cartilage or the blood or whatever, the gums. And I forgot to mention, when they first walked into his little shack, Hooper just looked like just in awe of all the shark bones. So this is basically saying, these are all the sharks that I murdered. There's a ton, and they're huge. Some of them are really big. You could stick your head in it. So he fishes that the two latest ones, I guess. His hands are covered in blood, so obviously he's been cleaning those things for a while. And then he goes up to the top of the steps, and that's when Brody introduces Hooper to Quint. And of course, Quint knows who Hooper is.
Mr. Quint! You're gonna need an extra hand. This is Matt Hooper.
I know who he is.
I have crewed 3 transpacks.
Transplants.
No. He's from the Oceanographic.
An America's Cup trial.
Mr. Hooper, I'm not talking about pleasure boating or day sailing. I'm talking about working for a living. I'm talking about sharking.
Well, I'm not talking about hooking some poor dogfish or sand shark. I'm talking about finding a great white.
Porkers? Talking about porkers, Mr. Hooper.
I don't think I've ever noticed that Hooper says, transpacks, and Quint says transplants. Like, he absolutely heard him and deliberately got it wrong to be like, what, like, I'm sorry, what do you do? Who cares? Like, oh, you did it at America's Cup. And I love that Hooper does not back down. Brody's a little intimidated by him. Hooper, not one bit. He's like, I'm talking about a great white. And I love that Quint's like, porkers? You talking about porkers, Mr. Hooper? And then to test Hooper, he throws a rope at him and tells him, tie me a sheep shank. And Hooper doesn't even flinch. He's like, I haven't had to, pass basic seamanship in a long time. And he starts tying it. Then he says, you didn't say how short you want. And that's where our 4 minutes end. Now, one thing I did not mention was Martin said to Hooper, don't drink this. He gives him the, Hooper takes it from him. He's like, don't drink this. And Hooper immediately drinks it. Like, I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to let Quint get the upper hand. So when he ties the sheep shank, he just does it. He's like, you didn't say how short you want it. Now, that's when it got cut off. But I looked it up. What the hell is a sheep shank? A shank is a type of knot that is used to shorten a rope or take up slack, such as the sheep shank. The sheep shank knot is not stable. It will fall apart under too much load or too little load. Then why the hell would you use this? The knot has several features which allows a rope to be shortened. It provides 2 loops, one at each end of the knot, which can be used to pass another rope through. Again, what? Okay, it says typical uses. Provides loop, shortens or removes slack from a rope, bypasses a frayed section of rope. Okay, I guess. And it says spills if not under tension. This is whatever. I got this on Wikipedia. I don't know. They have a section on knots. I didn't know that. Like, are these knots, good underwater? I have no idea. Are they used for boating? The only knots I know that goes underwater is Don Knotts, and that's when he turned into a fish. He was an incredible fish too. But we're not focused on that fish. We have another fish we need to focus on, and we're getting closer and closer to the man versus beast half of this movie. Tomorrow is truly the end of Act 1. Like, if you split this movie up into 2 acts, tomorrow's final moments are the end of Amity and the beginning of, the sea adventure. And it's just, I've always loved that this movie splits so perfectly. It's not exactly in the middle, but it is so perfectly like two uneven, as far as time is concerned, halves that are very even. Like, that first half of Jaws is incredible, and the second half is even better. And I hope that the second half of JAWGUST is even better, and I hope that includes today. We went places I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expected to look at the IMDb of the nurse or to find that the doctor/orderly doesn't have any information I can find, or to find that the young man who played Michael passed away at a young age, and unfortunately, so did his son. That I was not expecting to do. But we did get to see Mayor Vaughn one last time, Michael and Sean Brody one last time. We will see Ellen again, and we finally get to see Quint, Hooper, and Brody all together. All together now, all together now, all together now. I can't believe I went 40 minutes. That's crazy. I was not expecting that. But here we are. That's the magic of JAWGUST. You just never know. But I'm done. I am done. And I am going to save this, upload this, and then immediately dive into my bed and fall fast asleep. But I'll be back tomorrow. That's what I do. I do this every day. So tomorrow, Monday, back to work. Summer's officially over for me. I had 3 days off last week, and since May, we've had half-day Fridays. Well, half-day Fridays ended last Friday, even though I had the whole day off. And this week is just a normal week of work. How depressing. But it will allow me copious amounts of time at night or in the morning before work to talk Jaws with y'all. Did I really just do that? That I was not expecting. So let's just end this before I just ramble even worse than I'm rambling already. All right, let's do the homework. You can find me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except Twitter, which is Geek Mentality Mike. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. That's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. I will be back tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, I'm opening the guest door again, and I'm having another guest into the JAWGUST studios. Looking forward to that, but that's not until Tuesday. I'll be back again talking more Jaws with you tomorrow, and I hope you will be there too. Same shark time. I've done that already. All right, the beaches are closed. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.